U.S. military. Now, when I spoke with the president, he said that during that secret U.S. operation to get crude oil out of these Gulf ports, an average of 22 vessels per night over the past month and a half, the president said, were escorted out by the U.S. military. They still maintain the ability to do that. But remember, the Iranians want something here. And if they don't open the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports isn't going to be lifted. And that's part of the back and forth in this agreement. There are benchmarks that have to be reached by the Iranians. And if they don't adhere to their end of the deal, ultimately they're not going to get the sanctions lifted, and the sanctions that are implicit in a naval blockade of their ports. Remember, they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars every day.
Let's get one more thought from Aisha as the helicopters followed the president to Evian. Aisha, I imagine that the White House would very much like to turn the page and stop talking about Iran and get to talking about more things that people at home are concerned and worried about. Of course, one of those is gas prices, but there are many other issues leading into America's 250th birthday celebration, of course, and then the long march to the midterms.
Well, I'm sure they would like to, Dana, but they're not going to be able to this week. I'm going to have a working dinner with him tonight. They're going to want to know, is this strait going to open in full effect by Friday? And the vice president this morning wasn't really clear about that. He said that Iran will absolutely not toll the strait, but he went on to say that these are the sorts of things that we're going to figure out in these technical negotiations. A lot of very important details to figure out when we finally sit together at the table. And Trey mentioned something incredibly important here. There are mines, all limits.
All options have to be on the table.
And Trey, I'm going to show all the other Democrats who have supported this idea. It doesn't get much traction, except if you think that if the Senate were to turn Democratic, they might give it another go.
Only if they do away with the filibuster. You know what, Dana? For the last 50 years, the left has gotten from 5 lawyers what it could not get from 250 million voters. So I am sure they are frustrated. I mean, literally, if you look at the transformational change in this country over the last 50 years, it's been 5 people with law degrees. It has not been the voters.
Right on the South Lawn. All right, in a moment, what to expect. You're up to sign a historic deal on Friday.
Okay,
there
one
are
minute.
many ins and outs
This one,
of this.
you're gonna ship it.
And we'll go through
Everything
now
is coming
one at a
in.
time as we move closer toward the end of the week. That's next.
These eyes want a new look.
These want to save.
Better care that doesn't break the bank.
With a quality eye exam and 2 pairs of glasses at one great price. An eye exam plus 2 pairs of glasses for $95 at America's Best.
Welcome Home has a whole new meaning for veterans who want to buy a home. Because New Day USA has put the American dream within reach with New Day Home. And one dedicated homeownership team takes care of everything, start to finish. With New Day Home, you'll have an Admiral certified agent helping you find the perfect home, working with our VA loan experts who do all the paperwork for you and get you approved in minutes. 30 days later, you can have the keys. You won't need to spend a single dollar of your savings to get into a home of your own. Not a single dollar for a down payment, not a single dollar for closing costs, not a single dollar, period.
If we can possibly get that veteran in a home, we're going to do it in New Day USA.
Call New Day for your Admiral certified agent and VA loan approval in minutes. 1-888-605-0547.
My moderate to severe plaque psoriasis held me back, but now I'm all in with clearer skin. Thanks to Sky Rizzy.
Most people achieved clear skin from head to toe. Many were 100% plaque-free, and many were completely clear, even in 5 years.
So as promised, here we go with Marine One now landing on the area where you just saw a moment ago with the flags and that front door area. He will meet with the French President Emmanuel Macron in moments, and then we'll see the two of them in about 45 minutes if the schedule holds.
Yes, beautiful day there as Marine One touches down. Northern service. That's what we have. That's a short flight from Geneva. Okay, now about 30 minutes.
So a lot of topics here. U.S.-European relations, certainly. What's happening with Iran, moves even ahead of those concerns. in the 1A slot. Then you've got the issue of Ukraine, where these European leaders have been engaging this battle for some time.
Right there.
That's going to slide to the 1B slot. So
I would add the technology issues in there as well, and the taxes against our companies, and the president maybe gonna lay down the law on that with us.
So we'll see what we get out of it. Republican Senator from Pennsylvania, Dave McCall, and now also Foreign Relations Committee chairs the subcommittee, and Middle East also come back and review. And asking a couple folks about what the expectation is out of this meeting. What would it be for you?
Well, I think a lot of it will be focused on Iran. I mean, the Europeans have shown because of their energy policies that they're incredibly dependent on others for energy, and the Strait has huge implications for them in China, far more than the United States, which has adopted a strategy of energy dominance. You know, I think the thing we can say for sure about the Iran deal is, number one, President Trump, despite leaders over many decades saying Iran can't have a nuclear weapon and needs to stop state sponsorship of terrorism, President Trump has acted. Our military has performed spectacularly, and people in Pennsylvania certainly appreciating the steps that have been made to open up the strait, and we see gas prices coming down, which is a big deal. With regard to the memorandum, I look forward to reading it. But I support what President Trump has said, which, number one, Iran can't have a path to nuclear weapon. They need to give up the enriched uranium. I think there's broad agreement on that. And second, this needs to be performance-based. There can't be any dollars or sanctions relief until we see meaningful steps towards turning over that enriched uranium and giving up their nuclear program. And so I think the focus will largely be on that, although, of course, the other topics you mentioned, Ukraine and technology and so forth, are certainly going to be part of the agenda.
Before the president steps off of Marine One, let me go ahead and roll this soundbite. The Vice President, J.D. Vance, he's got a new book out. He's making the rounds, let's say. Here's how he described one-on-one communication and contact. Watch here.
We've been talking to these people, sometimes indirectly, but sometimes directly, and that's what's fundamentally changed under the president's leadership. We are now speaking directly to the Iranian system. We have some good relationships there, so this is going to be a successful negotiation because, you know, we're not passing messages through various back channels anymore. We're actually talking to them, and when you talk to them, you figure out what's real, what's fake, what are they serious about, what are they not serious about, and the thing I'd add to that is we fundamentally have all the cards here.
Okay, let me come back to the last comment there about the U.S. having all the cards here. What about knowing what's real and what's fake? What's real and what's not? I mean, previous administrations have been wrestling with the thing forever.
Well, I think there's two differences. I agree with what the Vice President said. I had a chance to talk with him in person about this last week. And we are in this very specific negotiation. Of course, there's lots of fragmented parts of the leadership in Iran, but we have relationships, and this is a back and forth. We shouldn't trust anything the Iranians say. It's got to be verified by actions on the ground. But the real difference here, the reason America has the cards, is because the president's taken action. We've taken a huge toll on their military capability. The sanctions have squeezed them economically. The Strait of Hormuz has been punishing economically. We've undermined their manufacturing capacity. So we've done a lot to put pressure on them, which is why I think they're at the negotiating table. But the next 60 days will be imperative that we keep the pressure on, and we should view anything they say with skepticism until we see actions on the ground. But we wouldn't be in the spot without the courageous action of really going after their nuclear capability.
Yeah, a couple of things. I'm looking at national average for gasolines now down to $4.06 a gallon. I mean, a year ago it was $3.13, but we're not in the same place where we were a year ago. With this whole comment about holding all the cards, and I respect what you have to say there, and also the Vice President, but Iran has a vote in this as well. And Iran can get Hezbollah fired up in Lebanon, and you know what Netanyahu's going to do? He's not going to sit back and take it. That's one issue. The other issue is that they have shown that they can threaten traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. And we can have a successful blockade, but nonetheless, they can still threaten international shipping. What about those 2 points?
Well, listen, we should never underestimate Iran. We shouldn't underestimate Hezbollah, but there's no doubt that they're dramatically less capable today than they were a year ago. I mean, a fraction of what they once were. And of course, they can create economic turmoil in the Strait. They've done that. What's interesting is, and listen, the people of Pennsylvania feel the gas price, so I want to agree with you on that. But we are far less dependent on what happens there than others, which gives us, because of the energy dominance agenda, and we've already made huge strides in opening up the strait to some degree to get some carriers through. So of course Iran has voted in it. That's the reason we have negotiations. But the actions taken thus far, I think, have put a lot of pressure on Iran, which bring them to the table. And listen, the president's been clear. We'll see what happens over the next 60 days, but we cannot have a path to a nuclear weapon with Iran, and really the ball's in their court. They can have a path to prosperity for the great people of Iran that have been run by a bunch of lunatics for 50 years, or they can turn inward, and we're going to have to probably risk using our military again to put added pressure on economic models. So they're at a point. We're at a fork in the road. Let's hope they take the right fork.
Senator, thank you for your time. And if they do take the right
Yes, sir.
fork, it would be a revolution, and it would happen before our eyes in real time.
It'd be remarkable, indeed.
Senator, nice to have you on. Dave McCormick, Republican from Pennsylvania. To Dana Perino, I ask you, how hard is this handshaking?